Silas and the preemptive strike are a perfect synergy. Each tower will completely negate the other's weakness to a great degree, so let's take this on a map where it might struggle a little bit. Quad chimps and see if we can get some cash spare with it. So basically the preemptive strike and the Silas abilities, along with the towers that Silas particularly synergize with, work very well together. Silas is immensely weak to DDTs and the bad, which is the exact thing that preemptive strike will do, so it really is an amazing synergy. I've done some other chimps maps on experts where I've gotten like 80,000 cash spare with it, so you really can use it very well, and particularly it will use very well in black borders too. So I'm going to be going here on quad chimps, which will be a little bit of a challenge just because of how all the lanes are spread out, but I'm going to be bringing in Condor and seeing how we can roll with this. So to start off, I'm just going to get those 2 Desperados and 2 snipers, Silas, and I'll be working into this Condor on the bottom. And I'll be using this Velociraptor just kind of to take out all these Bloons in the early game. This isn't exactly the optimal thing to do, but I just find it a little bit easier, so that's what I'm running with. Then at the top, we'll be able to start working into that sub for some of these early game rounds just to help out Silas there on the top. And then I'll be able to move on with an ice on the bottom. Some of these early game rounds were definitely a little bit difficult, but that's kind of what you get with some of these Condor early games. Going into the mid game, it was definitely a little bit of a struggle. I feel like I didn't really have any good options to be able to beat a lot of these mid game rounds, but I was able to get the Condor luckily right up before the Moab started becoming an issue. So now Condor is going to be able to drag all of that, and then with an icicles on the top and an embrittlement, I should be able to deal with everything that comes down that lane. That BFB can be stalled out by the Condor, so that's not much of an issue, and round 63 shouldn't be anything difficult, so we're good at least on that front. And then I'm able to do the long save up to the preemptive strike, and also we will be getting the absolute 0-2 along with that. And with all of that together, this should really be enough just to beat Chimps. All of the rounds, round 100 will not be an issue at all because I do have the preemptive strike, which will be able to take that bad down completely. The DDTs should be just completely obliterated besides the round 99 ones, which I think should be fine if we have an absolute 0 and an ice wall ability up to be able to take all of that down with the last little bit from Silas. So I'm able to just continue on. The only real issue is getting the Condor to drag everything, which is something that can be a little bit of a challenge at a point, but with the placements that I have set to close, I think we should be able to get most of it, especially considering that I will have Silas being able to slow down a lot of these BFBs without dealing too much damage, that nothing will get broken open too quick. That's usually the big issue. If the Condor moving thing on quad can't work, it's probably because everything gets broken open too early, and then you just get a bunch of random Moabs that it doesn't work with. But if we have BFBs, then I'm able to push everything over a lot easier. It's some really cool tech. I don't know if most people really know how it works, but basically you have a certain point where the Condor will move something over that's about to leak to the lane that is not about to leak. So it goes from the very end to the very start of the track, just again at a very short movement point, so it can constantly drag stuff over from the end to the front. And basically with that on quad, you can do it on some other maps too, but it basically turns it into kind of a single lane map where it goes on that long single lane bend on quad, and it just makes the map a lot easier. That's how you can do some ridiculous cash bear stuff, like in this run, for example, where we're going to be getting a great amount of cash bear 2 on top of that. It obviously doesn't make it as simple as a single lane map, but pretty much to the point where it's a lot easier than it was before, at least. For example, if I were to do this without Condor, I would have had to get a whole ice setup on the bottom side and all that other stuff that isn't really fun, and I won't be able to maximize the DPS output of one single ice by having just half the pierce being used because it's split up between 2 lanes. So that's just something interesting if you don't really know how that works, but it's a really fun and interesting strategy that will advance some gameplay on some of these harder maps. So moving on into the late game now, this round 95 was very, very nice. It was completely chill, no issues whatsoever. Preemptive strike destroyed everything, which is good. It was a little bit of a concern considering that I'd have a ton of ceramics coming into the bottom side if Condor was able to hold all of that, but just a simple ability from Silas was able to cover all of that, no issue. Then for the issue of ZOMGs, I actually can take these out really easily. Typically in these setups you'd have something that would at least break open the ZOMGs and then Condor can push the ZOMG insides, but here I can literally first strike every single ZOMG because I have absolute zero with Silas. So all of those just end up getting first strike. Round 95 on the other hand was a little bit interesting because I was trying to find a way to beat round 95 while being able to get my first strike ability back, because I was kind of concerned about being able to get all of the ZOMGs on 98 because there really are a lot of them and it goes by pretty fast. Luckily I was able to get away where the bottom one would be first strike first, so I can get the first strike back, and then with that I'm able to have everything available for round 98, to which it went out very easily. I was very surprised by how easy it worked. I was able to drag every single BFB over to the top lane without a problem, and then I was able to first strike all of them besides the last one, which opened up naturally, and the insides got moved just before they were about to leak. Worked out perfectly. It's great to see some solutions like that just come together on round 98. And then round 99, as simple as everything was, I had one last BFB, which luckily got popped way at the end. Well, one last DDT, I mean, which got popped way at the end. So that round 99 worked out. And then I was able to take out round 100 with just 2 first strikes. Pretty simple as that. I'll be able to just pop this last one over here right before it leaks. It does have a shorter cooldown, so I can do that on quad, which is very nice without a reactor. And that is quad chimps with the Silas and preemptive strike strategy and 66,000 cash spare. Definitely a really fun run and a really good strategy synergy. You gotta check it out. Thanks for watching. If you want to help out the channel, you can check out these new videos, like and subscribe for more content, support the channel by becoming a member, and joining the Discord to chat with the community. Bye!